a bumper sticker on a Bentley. That was my line whenever the subject of tattoos came up. I was a luxury car and you wouldn't put a bumper sticker on one because that was tacky. It all changed on a whim Valentine's Day 2011. I remember I woke up a few days before and decided to make my status on Facebook, Happy Free Bitch Day, with a cross and a heart emoji. If you, unlike me, are not stuck in 2009, I'll remind you that Free Bitch is a lyric from Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. Many would say it's her best song and video, and they're wrong, but I'm not going to get into that right now. So, I've always liked to fantasize about my statuses days before. I partly did it because I've always been a huge Lady Gaga fan since she was coming up, and I knew my friends would think it was cute. It was very on brand. I also partly did it because I wanted to provoke the guy I was kind of sort of seeing, the first guy I had ever sort of really seen. Provoke him to what I still don't know. I'd like to think back to my 18-year-old self because I honestly don't feel connected to her, like she's some different person. She's sort of like a cousin. You're connected through history, not the present. I'm mystified by her. She was a free bitch if there ever was one. This wasn't the first time I used a Lady Gaga lyric to provoke a boy. A year before this, I had posted the lyrics from Monster. He ate my heart, that boy is a monster, as my status, and it had worked. The boy I liked had asked me about it. Well, it didn't exactly work because he did profess his love to me after it, but he did talk to me. So that's all I could ask for at the time. So I'm in the cafeteria of my dorm room freshman year, and I got a text. It says, "You are not a free bitch." Success! He'd seen my status, he knew it was about him, and he reached out to me. I honestly don't think he had even texted me that day to say Happy Valentine's Day, but I was happy he did text me at all. So being a young woman is ridiculous because we don't have any expectations of anyone, and I wouldn't wish any of this on my worst enemy. But that's kind of a lie because I would wish it on my worst enemy because they're my worst enemy and I wish horrible things on them. So we have really low expectations when it comes to men. I wanted him to text me so bad I didn't care if he was saying I wasn't what I wanted to be most in this world, a free bitch. It's amusing to me in a way that isn't actually amusing, but it's actually very sad. At this point in my life, I was the freest bitch I had ever been in some ways, but I couldn't see it. I got into NYU and I was living this fun life, taking classes in subjects I was interested in and exploring New York City with great friends, but I was so insecure. It's like when you're a teenager and you think you're fat, but you're actually a size 2. You can't see the forest for the trees or some shit people say that I don't understand. So I got a text saying you are not a free bitch, and my thought was, I'll be a free bitch on my wedding day. It isn't about being attached to someone else, it's about your relationship to yourself. So I decided there and then that I would get a bumper sticker, a tattoo, that said free bitch on my wedding ring finger. So free on the front and bitch on the back, for obvious reasons. And I would always remember this moment, about how I felt when someone told me that I belonged to them. I knew my relationship to myself was the one that I had been nurturing for 18 years, and I knew it was the most important one long before Carrie Bradshaw proclaimed it on Sex and the City. I decided I would wait at least 2 years, which would be 1/10 of my life at that point, until I got the tattoo. This was to prove to myself and to others that I was serious about it. I didn't want the proclamation to be seen as something I had just done on a whim. So flash forward 2 years minus 1 day. I'm in my junior year dorm room about to go downstairs to get a car to LaGuardia to fly home to see Lady Gaga perform the 100th show of the Born This Way ball. I get a text alert from her Twitter saying that she has canceled the tour immediately due to health issues. Mainly, we will learn a broken hip that needs major surgery. I have had my whole outfit planned for the show. I'm going with my mom, who's never seen Lady Gaga live before. I'm literally about to fly home to Chicago from New York to see the 100th show on Valentine's Day. The 100th show is on Valentine's Day in Chicago because she was dating Taylor Kinney from Chicago Fire. I was so excited and suddenly so crushed. I cried for Lady Gaga and her hip, and I cried for myself and the dream I had of seeing that tour. Then I had been single for 19 of my 20 Valentines, and I was being generous. Looking back, I wouldn't count that first Valentine as my Valentine. He said Happy Valentine's Day eventually, and that was it. He might as well have been my dad saying Happy Valentine's Day. Never mind, that's kind of weird. Okay, so I'm flying home, but not to go to the show, but to spend time with my friends and family. On the flight home, I realized tomorrow will be the day that I can finally get my tattoo. It will have been 2 years. I decided to get it on the day of the concert as a way of commemorating the show that I never saw. And because I love the idea of getting the tattoo exactly 2 years to the day after I decided to get it. My only issue was that I had been telling people since I was a young teen that you don't put a bumper sticker on a Bentley. And I'm about to not only put a bumper sticker on, but I'm about to put one where you're not supposed to put one. Your ring finger is supposed to be, like, especially to an older generation, the sacred space you leave blank until you get an engagement ring. I kind of felt like I was shitting on a bunch of people's traditions by doing this. But it meant a lot to me to have a special relationship with myself first and foremost. It's just who I am, it makes sense to me and for me. So I quickly got over the fact that I had changed my mind about something I was so passionate about. I decided that it showed growth, that I can grow and change and still have my convictions. It's unrealistic to believe that you have the same opinions when you're 13 that you'll have when you're 20. Over the 2 years I had spent thinking about the tattoo, it morphed into saying free bitch to a Trinity knot. A Trinity knot is actually Gaelic for free bitch. Just kidding. A Trinity knot is a Celtic symbol that means the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. To me personally, it means a few other things. It's the power of three, and Lady Gaga has a song called You and I. In it she sings, there's only 3 men that I've loved my whole life. It's my daddy in Nebraska and Jesus Christ. And I've always loved that line about loving 3 men who all hold space in your heart in different ways. I couldn't relate to it, but I dreamed I could one day. I've also heard 3 is the most balanced number and a triangle is the most stable shape. But the thing about the Trinity is that it's all curved and locked into itself. That's me, striving for balance and having to curve my way to find it. Also, Beyonce has a Roman numeral 4 on her ring finger, and if Beyonce's a 4, I'm definitely a 3. So on that Valentine's Day that I had no Valentine, not even Lady Gaga, because she had decided to one-up Madonna once again and break her hip, I had myself, and I got a tattoo to commemorate that. At that point, I was pretty positive I would never marry because I was 20 and I hadn't ever really dated, and I was fine with that. But I said if I was ever to get engaged, the diamond would have to cover my tattoo. It would always be there, under the diamond that would certainly be certified conflict-free, and it would always remind me that you can change your mind, have a special relationship with yourself, and you can put a bumper sticker on a Bentley.